Well, good morning, everybody. It's Barb Katie here. I'm so glad to see you today and check in with you. And what I've been thinking about this week is really sort of interesting. Um, it's doing things easy, not stressing out about them, and yet having delicious meals as a result. Sound good to you? I know sometimes it seems like there's nothing to eat in my house. And my cupboards are full, my refrigerator is pretty full, and my freezer's got some stuff in it too. But I'll go and look in all of those places several different times and stare like it's the great abyss. And there's nothing there at all that seems to call my name and say, Barbara, you could eat meat. This would be good. This would be healthy. This would be on track. And so I got to thinking about my favorite foods and my go-to foods. I think we all have them. Um, Things that you truly, truly like and tend to reach out for. And so this week, I sort of jotted down what some of these foods were. Now, of course, there are things that we both know are not going to be particularly ideal to send us along a happy, healthy journey. And we should probably not eat them every single day as much as we probably could. That said, there are still hundreds and hundreds of food choices that I really enjoy and are go-tos for me. And they run the gamut. They are very simple in their natural state as I find them, like an apple. They are very complex at times, like an apple compote that's made up with premium ingredients. It takes a lot of time to prepare, and I would only do on very special occasions. Be that as it may, there are plenty of foods I like to eat. I'm sure there are plenty of foods that you like to eat as well. And so let's concentrate today on making sure that we have appealing food choices in our food plans every day. Not everything needs to be cooked. Some things can just be enjoyed in their natural state and tweaked a little bit and made fabulous. And so, with that in mind, I'm just going to run the gamut here briefly and try to come up with a plan that maybe you all could adapt, like I will be refreshing my memory with and adapting to suit my needs and make sure that in times of stress and times when I'm in a hurry and times when I'm just sort of out of sorts with the world, I can grab and go and know that I'm on target. Uh, you can call it making cooking easier if you like titles, but not everything's going to be cooked. One key to saving time with home cooking is, in fact, something called batch cooking. And whether you do it with intention or you do it serendipitously, it still results in food that is more than you need for a single setting. Uh, you, it's food that you actually may not have even intended to be eaten later, but you have leftovers. And so now, what are you going to do with them? Or if you're going to make it for one or two people, why not make it for six or eight and put some away for a later time, storing it in a safe way that you can readily use. Um, Batch cooking really does allow us, if we think about it, to maximize our time. For me, I have never been able to make a small pot of vegetable soup. No matter what I try to do, by the time I'm done, I've made a big pot of vegetable soup. And now I am faced with, what do I do with it? Do I eat vegetable soup for the next 4 days, or do I store it in a different way? Um, what's the plan here? What's the methodology that I want to use? Because I love my vegetable soup. It's just I need to know how to stay in control of it. Same way with foods like chili and maybe spaghetti sauce, some other things I'm sure you know as well. And this is all considered to be batch cooking. Uh, you don't have to prepare a full meal. And I think this is sometimes where people get sort of thrown off course. They feel like if they're going to make an extra amount of food for a particular meal everyone enjoys, you need to put away the full meal. That's not necessary. Very often, you can just do the primary ingredients together, and then the other ingredients you need to complete the meal can be done in just veritable minutes. And I don't know if you've ever watched some of the cooking shows on TV, but a lot of them specialize in 30-minute meals. And to me, that sounds like heaven to be able to get a meal on the table that is delicious and enjoyable in just 30 minutes. Uh, Here are some tips that I've come up with that you might find useful. This, I hope, will be an interactive message today because I really love getting new ideas to share and to try out and to incorporate that make my life easier and more pleasant. So I will be posting a recipe that I really like and use a good bit. Uh, and I hope each of you will do the same thing because all of us have that one great go-to that we use a lot. And if we just shared that with each other, what a delightful day it would be. The first thing I do is I make a plan. Uh, and this isn't a giant, all-inclusive, comprehensive plan of everything I plan to eat during the entire week. But I do set aside some time during the week to plan what I want to eat for meals and snacks, uh, and to select some recipes of meal ideas, and maybe even create a new recipe or two. You don't have to plan every meal for the entire week. Maybe just start with a day's worth of meals. One day that you're going to plan out and know what you're going to get. If you don't like to do that, maybe you want to plan some breakfasts that are convenient grab and go meals. Maybe you want to do lunches, maybe you want to do dinners, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's you, it's your plan, it's what you feel you need the most help and support with. And keep it really simple. Don't overwhelm yourself with really complex recipes or storage techniques or uh, agonizing over just exactly what ingredients you need to be sure are perfect for this meal. Build in some flexibility. Uh, there are really quite a number of online resources for healthy recipe ideas. When choosing a recipe, just be sure to use mainly whole foods if you can, rather than something that you pop the lid on and dumped in the pot. Uh, and not that that doesn't have its place at times, but eating whole foods, you're more in control of what goes into what you are going to be putting in your mouth to fuel your body. Uh, then think about the methods you're going to use. There are a few ways to approach batch cooking. You can either double or triple a recipe that you love, or you can make batches of ingredients that you will assemble later. I know I have a girlfriend, I thought she did such a brilliant idea. Her grandson was getting ready to move out on his own from his parents' house, and uh, getting a gift for that age child is not always the most easy thing in the world to do. Well, what she did was buy him a crock pot for Christmas. But the kicker was she included with the crock pot batches of ingredients that she had frozen to use for 7 meals. He was so thrilled because he could just dump all the ingredients in the crock pot and go off to work and come home to a healthy hot meal. And that helped him learn how he could do that for himself. So, think about the different ways you can put together ingredients to make them convenient for you, and maybe go with that. It doesn't have to be instantaneous to get this meal on the table. It just needs to be healthy and simple. So pick a method, whatever it is. Just as a general guideline, most foods will last in the refrigerator for 3 or 4 days. So I'd usually, if you're using fresh ingredients, I'm not a big fan of planning meals for a week. I tend to go for a shorter period of time just because I hate to waste food. And I'd rather stop by the market once in the middle of the week, rather than buy a whole bunch of food at the start of the week and have it bad to where I would not enjoy eating it by the end of the week, unless I decided to process it in a different way. So that's something to think about as well. As far as cooking the meal components, as long as you cook the ingredients with no sauces and not a lot of seasoning, you may be able to repurpose them many times over. Think about the common ingredients you use in some of your favorite recipes. I always use a lot of stewed tomatoes, and this time of year, particularly, I am breaking down my little victory garden here at the house and harvesting tomatoes, onions, and peppers. Well, those store so well frozen. They're quick to put together. I put them in containers and label them. And then throughout the year, if I want, the fresh ingredients that I know, uh, whether they were sprayed with chemicals or not, if that's a concern that you may have, it is one I do have. Uh, I can just go to my freezer and pull out a container. And I usually store most things in 1 cup containers. That seems to work well for me. I rarely go down below uh, a half a cup, and I rarely go over a quart of a thing if I'm processing it to keep for later use. Uh, I think about repurposing food too. The same ingredient can be used for multiple meals. For example, if you're a quinoa fan, uh, you can certainly make up a batch of that in advance. Any of the grains are that flexible. You can cook brown rice in quantity ahead, quinoa in quantity ahead. Uh, I like farro as a grain. It's one of my very favorites. I make it up in quantity ahead. And then I may use it with a different protein. I may use it with a different vegetable. I may make a particular sauce to go with whatever protein and vegetables I'm including in that dish. You see what I mean? And I still have the carb that I need in the fridge. I usually just cook enough for, 3 or 4 days. And my family loves it because not all my family loves the same starch. I have one son that actually is a pasta guy. I have another son that actually likes breads. Um, I have one son that prefers a potato of some kind. I have sons that like grains to use. And then there are friends and family that enjoy different types of carbs that they can choose from. And that's a good way of getting everyone sort of the meal they want without a lot of trouble. Um, I've done that for years, and it particularly works well for my two favorite go-tos, which is vegetable soup and chili, because I don't think there's a person in my family that likes their vegetable soup or their chili with the same carb. They all like to be able to choose their own, and they get a kick out of going to the fridge and getting out the containers and saying, okay, I'm going to put rice in my vegetable soup. And somebody else will say, no, I'm going to put potatoes. And it just makes it really fun and nice. So think about things that you can repurpose and not have to cook a special meal for a special person. Everybody can have what they want if you prep wisely. Um, read over any recipe that you begin to before you begin to cook it, though, to make sure that you have common ingredients that you have on hand in your home. If not, you're going to need to take a run to the store and get these ingredients in-house. Uh, if you have recipes, like I said, that call for the same thing, then you can do a lot of the prep work for these choices using the same ingredients. And that's a very efficient way of using your time when you move forward. If can prep ingredients that you know you'll use often, such as minced garlic or fresh squeezed lemon juice or grated lemon, even. I like to put grated lemon peel in ice cubes and have it on hand whenever I need it. I don't always, lemons go bad. And this is a way for me to extend the shelf life of the lemons that I have purchased. With food costs having increased in the last few years, I think all of us are finding a way to economize as best we can. Just as important as what you cook is how you store any batch meals that you cook. Here are some tips for safe storage, because the important thing here is if you're going to make food to eat later, you want to make sure that it is going to be safe to eat later. For ease of use, you'll want to store your meals sort of how you plan to eat them. It's helpful to prepackage your meals or snacks into serving size containers. This way you can grab and go. One of the things that I love to prepackage into service size containers is French toast. And it is so easy to do. You just scramble up one egg in what I call a square round container, that Tupperware had forever. And a slice of bread fits perfectly in there. And I will go buy often keto bread and dip it in the egg batter, leave the egg batter that remains in the container with the French toast. I usually do 2 pieces of that bread and snap the lid on. And I'll do maybe 4 of those and throw them in the freezer. I love French toast. I don't often have time to make it, but boy, oh, I can grab that out of the freezer and pop it on a skillet, and in no time, I've got a delicious, healthy meal that took me virtually no time at all. It's those types of things that I look forward to having available when I'm rushed but wanting to treat myself a little extra special in the course of a day. It also helps if with your portion control if you pre-measure things like this and freeze them. That way you don't have to guess. You know exactly what it is. And you can always put a piece of freezer tape on the container and put the date and what it is and how much of it is. Those are the 3 things that I'm always wanting to know. I found tomato sauce foods almost escape identification for me. I need to write on it whether it's chili sauce or spaghetti sauce or exactly what have I done in that container. Um, I know it's something I wanted to save, but what is it? I should have written it on the container. And also, the date's very important when you're putting things away. Um, so those are just some things I plan when I'm batch cooking, or I find I need to batch store food. Uh, Foods that we're planning on eating in the next 3 or 4 days basically can be refrigerated and be safe to consume. Uh, Everything else, I mean, unless you're into drying foods or other types of more complicated preservation, should probably be frozen, with the exception of foods that have a really high water content. I can tell you right now, celery does not freeze well, nor do lettuces or cucumbers or artichokes or eggplant. And unless potatoes have been cooked into a storable format, they don't store particularly well either in a freezer. It's best to freeze foods as soon as you possibly can after you remove them from cooking, and try to keep them as cold as possible, mainly to preserve their vitamin content, color, flavor, and texture as the initial freezing stage begins. I find, and it's strictly up to each of us to decide on this, is that I feel more comfortable and safe when I store my food in a glass container as preferred to plastic. Glass is clear, it's environmentally friendly, you can reuse it many, many times over. It holds heat well. It mo Most glass, and you'll need to make sure that you're aware of the type of glass you're using, will go from the freezer to the table. Glass does not seem to absorb smells from other foods that are stored near it, which is often a blessing. And glass is very durable. If you use plastic containers, try to limit to cold storage and transporting food. I would be a little hesitant to reheat in a plastic container unless I know that type of plastic was designed to be used to reheat food. Not all plastic is. Um, what, oh, uh, on the little graphic on this presentation, you will see an address for a government agency, foodsafety.com. I really recommend that you access that as a resource for you if you're going to be batch cooking. Um, there is a wonderful series of food charts available there that will help you in making sure that the food you prepare for later use is going to be properly stored. Uh, Taking care of how you store, especially frozen food, really can enhance the quality of the product when it is defrosted. Um, you don't want a food that's got freezer burn on it, or um, has been done inappropriately. You won't be pleased with the results. You just would have wasted time and energy. So I recommend that as a tip for you if you're looking to do food storage. Uh, with all the health benefits of home cooking, batch cooking, and meal prep in advance is an excellent skill that we should try to develop and expand upon as we go through this journey of good health. And it's something that can be a lot of fun. And in fact, if you will just think about it a little bit as you make a plan. You'll actually see that your food bill will probably go down because you will be wasting less food when you have a plan for how long it's going to last, how long it can be, there's if I live alone. I have family over often, but I can't guarantee that they're going to be available to eat my leftovers, nor can I guarantee they're just going to be dropping in enough to warrant buying a huge bag of something. I don't buy 10 pounds of potatoes because I will not eat 10 pounds of potatoes before they begin to decompose and be something I do not wish to use. I think all of us need to be realistic in that. And while it may be a little more expensive to buy a smaller quantity, it may be actually more economical because you're not throwing half of it away or more. And that's sort of the guideline I go by. Um, my aunt Eleanor in her 90s used to say that she was past the age of buying green bananas. Well, I'm not quite there yet, but I think you get the idea that make sure when you're buying food that you're going to be using, that you in fact have a plan in place that will allow you to use the food. I have uh, a recipe that I really like that I want to share with you, and it has to do with egg bites. I don't know if you've ever had an egg bite or not. Starbucks sells them for an exorbitant amount of money, but I make my own in a muffin tin and I make 12 at a time and just pop the ones I'm not eating in the freezer. And I am sharing that recipe for all of the Wheat Spot folks uh, in the comments that will follow below when I send this message out. So I hope you enjoy some batch cooking. I hope you enjoy making your life a little easy. And then when you look in your freezer or your fridge, you'll be delighted by what you found. Today, just as an example, I reached into the freezer and grabbed out uh, a cup of blueberries, which are one of my very favorite fruits, and they freeze very, very well. And with that cup of blueberries, I added 2/3 of a cup of Greek lemon yogurt that I particularly like. And I called that breakfast today. And how long did it take me? How much prep, in fact, did it even take me? Uh, that's what I mean. Let's make our life pleasant, fill it with food we really enjoy that will help us become healthier every single day, and relax and keep on enjoying the journey. I will talk to you later. Bye for now.